Hello and welcome to yet another exciting segment of the program PWD and the Society, where we basically bring you insight on the happenings of people with disability, their activities, surroundings, struggles, journey, what have you, their inclusion in the society. And I'm your host, Fauziya Lukman. Now I know you've been wondering what exactly it is about people with disability, and I'm here for you to give you everything you need to know about people with disability. If there are things you don't know or you want to know or you're wondering about, you can reach out to us on our various social media platforms on Global TV NG. Today with me is a very, very unique and special person, and I have so many reasons for calling her special, because she has this idea of life about people with disability that I find it very, very unique. Now, it's not about what she does, but it's the passion, the dedication, and the lifestyle she used in portraying herself as an advocate for persons with disability. With me is none other than a very, very special person. I know you've been watching, but you know the drill. I will keep hiding my guest for you until after the break, because I love giving you the suspense. If you love the suspense, stay tuned to your TV. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, and I hope that anxiety was worth it. I know I kept you waiting for so long, but like I said, if you're just joining us, you're watching us on Global TV channel 276 on Star Times, and with me is a very, very, very guest, a reporter, a journalist, and not just any journalist, but a journalist for the inclusions of persons with disability, in person of none other than Laraba Murray.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome again. Welcome.
Thank you.
I know you'll be wondering, why do I keep calling you special?
Yes.
It's not just about that. It's about how you go about with people with disability.
Okay.
It's almost as if you cap yourself as them, us, we, I, you, all of that.
Yes.
And I don't know, I just can't get enough of that.
Okay.
Moving forward, I just want to go straight to the point for a minute. How has your journey been advocating for people with disabilities?
I will not give it a name, but I'll say it has been an interesting one. Reason being, but the first time I came in contact with that community, I was actually endeared to them. It was one of the days I went to report humanitarian ministry, and that was the day that I saw that these are persons that I can be them tomorrow. So I needed to give them that voice. I needed to amplify what they are going through in the society. So for now, the journey is still going on. It's a struggle. It's an ongoing struggle. It hasn't been easy, because meeting communities, meeting people, and trying to say, don't be like this, rather be this kind of person, is actually something that we keep talking about it. We keep telling people, oh, you have to live this way. You have to stop referring to this kind of persons in this way. So it's actually an interesting one, but we're going to get there.
Well, you had her, and that is the main reason why I allowed her to explain and usher herself in, because today's topic is based on that, based on the fact that she's an advocate for persons with disability. That's why today we'll be talking about enhancing opportunities for people with disability. Now, Larva,
yes,
what is your perception, or what do you think is your point of view as a journalist concerning the community when it comes to regarding people with disability? Do you think people are doing a good job, or we just need to work harder?
I think if we're going to speak from the aspect of being a journalist, there's still under reportage about persons with disability. We still need more information in order to use the right terminologies, in order to know how to relate with them. So if we're going to talk about it in that light, in the aspect of being a journalist, it is still a journey. It is still a learning process. We still need training and retraining, because this is something that has just come into light. I would say the community for disability has been in existence from time immemorial, but the minute that the act was signed, into law, that is, by 2018, and then assented to in 2019, that was the time that, the issues around persons with disability, had a highlight.
Yeah,
yes. So
the implementation created this kind of a huge bombshell in the market, because before, I didn't even know a lot of things about disability was going on. Like from when the government just took on charge and tried to recognize them as a community. I think I would just say I've started feeling more and more proud of myself. More like I've been able to come out of my shell, address people and talk, and then when they talk, I'll just be like, okay, hello, do you know who I am? Do you know what I am to the government? I'm not just anyone. I am a person with disability. Basically, I am like the child of the government.
Exactly.
Now, how have you been able to cope with people with disability feeling that way now? Do you think it's an easy thing for them to accept themselves? Or so far in your journey, they have that difficulty in coming out and identifying as one?
When I said something that they have been, persons with disability has been in existence from time immemorial. We even have it in the good books where somebody was healed. Now, let's bring it back to the community. It has been, now this act that we're talking about, remember that it was presented 4 times? It took 18 years. So for you to start thinking that, oh, it's easy for them to accept it, it's actually not going to be, they might still have some skepticism about, okay, is this really going to happen for us? Is this now going to be a turnaround, for the community? Are we going to now have the life of dignity that we've always wanted?
Yeah, that's true, because for some reasons, people look at people with disability with a certain limitation. They feel this is a particular kind of life they should live, or this is where they should go, or what they should do. They shouldn't do more than this. It's more like we are framing them in this cluster of I can't, I shouldn't, should I? You shouldn't do more than this for people to have this perception of you. Now, do you think that's a negative or positive impact on the social growth of a person with disability?
It's definitely a negative impact, because if the thing is that there are various types of disability. Now, is this person having a mental type of disability? Is it an intellectual? Is it a physical disability? Now, what people see, the first thing that they come in contact with the person with disability is that this person cannot carry him or herself. So over the years, they pity persons with disability. They feel that they can't do things for themselves. But no, they are the same like you and I. They just have something that has not made them a perceived incomplete person, but they are just like you and I. Now, okay, do you know that you can go for an exam and then a person with disability will perform way higher than the so-called normal person? So it's just something that there's no limitation as far as I'm concerned. They say that there's ability in disability. Now, what you do is that if you have if you're physically impaired, you know, if you can't see, then you should move your intellect to something else, rather than just feel, oh, this has happened to me, life has ended for me. Although there's also a place of where the family does not support. We've heard instances where persons with disability, because the family is feeling embarrassed about that situation, they will lock up that person in the room. So you see, that has placed limitation on that person, but not really. Have you tried to see that, okay, this person might not be able to go to this place, but when you put some certain computers in front of that person, the person can perform excellent. Exactly. And then have you tried fixing a technology in the person's ear, and the person is able to hear what you're saying? So I don't think these days, there's anything like limitation. I'll tell you a story of someone. I'm going to put out the story very soon, but I told him that, I asked for permission. I said, can I use your story? He said yes. He told me that he has been using assistive technology for 40 years. Wow. Yes. A very, very prominent person. Wow. He has been, like, you won't even know that he has had that. And then prior to the position that he is in right now, almost all the positions that he got was not because he's disabled, not because he has a form of disability,
but the strong will and
yes. So he refused to let that put a hold in what, he refused to let that define him. So I don't think there's any limitation, no.
Okay, yeah, I think so too. Now, because there are some, growing up, I actually thought that the whole idea of locking kids with disability by parents was rampant in, let's say, India, because they are the ones that are like popularly known about that, until when I start getting to see things in Nigeria, and I find out that even we ourselves here, we practice that.
Yeah.
Like, even though that's something I would want to talk about on a different level, because I feel it kind of implements a whole of thing when it comes to gender-based violence, due to the ideology of them being locked up and, you know, not giving them the right voices. Because I feel if they have the voices, they will have been able to, like, voice out more often. Now, in the case of advocating, how do you advocate to people of that? Like, how do you get to them when the family are shielding them? How do you get them to see the opportunities that are, like, way ahead for them? How do you get through to them?
I'll say, okay, the only word is going to be awareness, sensitization, training and retraining. Because if you don't have information, what will you work with? Because, okay, let's say, for instance, you have a child that is physically impaired, and then you lock up that child, but the brain is still there. He or she sees what you are doing to her. He or she sees that you're treating her in this type of way. But if only you, as a caregiver, as a family or a community, know that there are schools that can be inclusive, you know, to take my child to school. It's just lack of information. So we keep saying sensitization, awareness, training. That's what I'll say.
Okay, so now the whole idea of opportunities for people with disability. Now, do you think people with disability are accepting it on their own, on like that we can go forward and there are hope and abundance of opportunity out there for us? Because there seems to be this narrative that, especially in the northern part of the country, where once someone has a disability and he or she is not from a well-learned family, there's this category that you just automatically fall into unaware. Now, is there a way that we can send message through advocacy to those particular people for them to stand up on their own without just relying on the disability or like a particular little handprint?
Okay, now you see, it's not just about sending a message. It's also about, because, okay, for instance, we bring it to our country, Nigeria. We have had where, since 2019, the act has been passed. how many states have implemented, have agreed, and how many states are implementing? That's where we're going to start with.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad the government gave an ultimatum of the 5 years thing,
which has elapsed.
I thought it was supposed to elapse like this year.
No, it has already elapsed.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Because I've seen buildings where there are some buildings that are like inaccessible, but all of a sudden I start seeing that they are getting a bit accessible, some offices and all of that.
No.
But then it's not that much.
It's still not that much. So what have you put in place to make me know that if I come out, I'm going to be accepted? What learning opportunities have you put in place to make me know that if I come out, I'm going to be able to go to school? I'm good that this building is accessible, you know, for persons with disability. But how many buildings can you say that a person with disability can go to? Yeah. How many transportation system can a person with disability have? Like, can they go to market by themselves without being aided, without having a caregiver? What are you doing to help a caregiver? What are you doing to also help that person? So it's something that we have to just keep looking and educating, and also tell that person, like I said, you know, when you have okay, I think when you have a support group, it's easier for me to talk to a person with disability because I also see that you have some form of disability. So support groups will also go in a long way to start the changing of mindset until they are able to stand on their feet.
Okay. Well, you talked about creating the avenue for them to come out. Now, my take is, how do you make them feel okay enough to come out when most times when they come out, people give them sympathy rather than empathy? Because I don't know, for some reason I feel more sympathy breaks them down and the courage, because only the learned ones see that as a zeal to just like, okay, if you're giving me sympathy, let me show you that I am beyond that sympathy. I am you that I am. My disability doesn't define me. I have a lot of things to offer beyond my disability. If you don't see that before my disability, then I am not ready to see you. I don't see you. Now, how do you get the unlearned ones? Because I don't know, I prefer using those words, because, you know, when it comes to disability, there are sensitive words
that you don't use.
So like the unlearned words, how do you get them to come out and then address people into making them feel sympathy?
It's very easy. It's very easy. You have where you come from. I have where I come from. I'm from Adamawa State, and the only way you can get through to me is when you're in my own language, right? If I understand Hausa, speak to me in Hausa. That's the best way that I will understand that you shouldn't do certain things. I will still come back to sensitization, awareness campaign. Let it be everywhere. Let it be on every street, on every corner, in every prominent places where, you know, okay, is it going to be in the church? Is it going to be in the traditional ruler's house? Is it going to be, you know, in the mosques? Is it going to be on the streets? Let it be written in languages that I will understand. Is it sign language that you need to communicate, you know, to me with? Is it whatever it is that?
Yeah, but then what do you think we should do about people that look at them with sympathy, like getting the whole community to accept them and, you know, create an avenue for the opportunity?
Okay, now, do you know that we are not where we were when it has to do with persons with disability? Reason being that there's a lot of awareness going on.
Yes.
And that awareness has, I think sometimes last year, the National Commission for Persons with Disability held a workshop, you know, and he brought in religious leaders and traditional rulers. Why? Because it goes to the grassroots. We are trying to talk about those that find it, how do I say, find it uncomfortable or don't know how to talk about it. Now, when you send a message to the grassroots, it comes up. It's easier to get the buy-in of everyone when you involve, how do I say, the gatekeepers of every community. When you involve the churches, when you involve the monks or traditional rulers. That is where you start from before you now start saying, okay, you're going to come up to the cities. Because if they don't get it right there, it's just like politics. They say politics is local. Yeah. So I would like to say that every other thing that we do is also local.
That's true. Well, you've been watching us on Global TV channel 276 on StarTime, and we have been talking to Laraba Munri. We'll take a little short break so you rest and write down everything you've been taking from this program, and I hope you've been learning a lot. Welcome back, and I hope you've been enjoying the program and learning a lot about people with disability. After all, you're watching People with Disability and the Society, PWD, with me, of course, your host, Fauzia Lukman, and our very, very, very sweet guest, Laraba Munri.
Thank you.
Laraba Munri, finally, what do you think is more important to send as a message to people with disability regarding opportunities? Is it the education, the learning of skills, or entrepreneurship, or just giving them money to just start a business?
I think it's going to be find what works for you. There's no, like we said, okay, we have about an estimate that's according to the statistics out there, we have about 32 million persons with disability in Nigeria. So that means we all cannot be in one place. Find what works for you. If it's entrepreneurship, fine. I have lots of them in the media space. If it's entrepreneurship, fine. I told you about someone that I met in Wuse that is selling. If it's learning skills, what you want to do. Okay, for instance, I would say learning skills is good, most especially where we are moving to where there's need for assistive technology, fabricating of assistive technology, because of how expensive it is. So find what works for you and go with it.
Okay. Lastly, is there anything you would like to say to Mr. President regarding inclusion of people with disability regarding opportunities?
Okay, I would tell him that you have done well. You have already included it in your agenda that you're going to work with women, girls, and persons with disability. So let's see that come to happen. Over the weekend, the National Chairman, Adamu, Senator Adamu, advocated for a ministry. Kindly look into it and see how we can get a life of dignity for persons with disability.
Well, a little reminder, we've come to the end of the program. As much as I want to keep talking about people with disability all day long, all night long, we just have a little time to talk about that. If you want to know more about us, or you have other people you want us to talk to you about regarding people with disability for you to follow up, please drop a comment or follow us on our social media platforms, Global TV and till then, see you next time. I remain Fauzia Lukman. With me, Laraba Munri.
Thank you for having me.
All right then. Bye.